Hi. So, the thing I'm going to talk to you about right now is this thing called thought distortions, called cognitive distortions. Really, what it is when we twist our thinking. It's when we use our emotional side of the brain to make decisions on thinking instead of using our logical side of the brain. It's when we let that emotional side take control and guide our thinking, right? We've all done these patterns, just like with the defense mechanisms. If you watch that video, these are more specifically to the ways in which we think, though, instead of the ways that we act. Okay, and some of these can be overlapping with defense mechanisms a little bit. So here's the common types. They're called thought errors because they are not based in reality, or they are untrue, or they're exaggerated, right? So all or nothing thinking is the first type. Oh, I should say these are usually more common with people that have anxiety and depression because those disorders skew the world, but they're very common with addiction too and mental health disorders, all of it. So all or nothing thinking is also called black or white thinking, and it's either I am perfect at something or I failed. I completely failed it. Either I do this thing 100% or I did it 0%. And that's a really hard way to live. Trust me, I was that person, and you can't live that way. You're never gonna do anything 100%. And if you maybe do one thing 100%, you're not doing everything 100%. That's guaranteed. So if I'm literally saying I did that thing 80%, what I'm actually saying is I did it 0. I failed it. When in reality, I did it 80%, and that's a grade to be proud of. That's something I should be proud of. I did a very good job. Even if you are giving yourself enough credit to say I did it 25%, that's a heck of a lot better than a 0. So we cannot live in black and white. Humans are not black and white. We need gray areas. And that's where you can rank it on a scale from 0 to 100, your progress to something. It could even be cleaning your house. It could be going to work and how well you did at work. It could be making friends. You don't need to say, if I don't do perfect, I fail. That's not fair. Catastrophizing is the next one, which is where we take a molehill and turn it into a mountain. This is the opposite of minimization, which was in the defense mechanisms. This is saying everything is going wild, everything's falling apart, I am late for work one day, so oh my gosh, I'm gonna become homeless. It's jumping from 0 to 100. Okay, yes, I'm late for work today. Does that mean I'm gonna absolutely lose my job? Does that mean then I'm absolutely not gonna be able to pay my bills and then I'm gonna become homeless? No, that would be jumping from 0 to 100. What it means is I might get in trouble, but I still have points left and I am fine. But we take everything and we blow it out of proportion, okay? Disqualifying or discounting the positive is where we throw anything positive that's happened in our lives into the wastebasket. We throw it away. People give us compliments, we justify why they don't count or why that person's lying or why it's not true. We do well at work, we explain to ourselves why that's not true. We do well in a relationship, anything we do, we throw it in the wastebasket. So how are you supposed to ever feel happy if all you do is throw all the positives into the trash? It doesn't work. It clearly doesn't work, okay? Emotional reasoning is where, because I feel something, it must be true. Because I feel like she's cheating on me, she's cheating on me. That doesn't actually provide any evidence of anything. It's just the way you're feeling. Because I feel like I'm a failure, I must be a failure. That doesn't actually say anything. Like I said, our emotional side of the brain is important, but it's not always trustworthy. Just because we feel something doesn't mean that it's true. Like there's an actual good reason behind it. Just because we feel angry doesn't mean there's a valid reason to feel angry. That's a very important thing to learn about life. Labeling is where we put names onto ourselves or others. Idiot, stupid, failure, like I said, worthless, and we call them to ourselves all the time or to other people all the time. They're negative labels we put on ourselves. Magnification is where we blow out of proportion. Well, this is the same thing as catastrophizing. I'm sorry, I have a different list than I usually use. So it is specifically saying on here though, magnification is when we evaluate ourselves with more negative than we really have. We highlight and magnify the negatives. And then it's also saying the opposite would be minimization, which we shrink the negatives down like we don't have any problems. Okay. Mental filter is where we only pay attention to one little part of the picture. We filter out the rest, and most of the time we're filtering out the positive. We put that to the side and we're scanning and seeing all the negative. It's like discounting the positive, but we're real focused in on all the negative crap that's happened in our lives. We're saying, look at all this negative stuff that happened in my week, but we're not looking at the positive. We're not necessarily throwing it away, actively trying to discount it, but we are just not looking at it. We're blind to that. Mind reading is where we believe we know what other people are thinking about us, and they're judging us. I know that they are. They're talking about us behind our back, right? They have a negative opinion of us. They're looking at us. A lot of times people aren't looking at you. They don't care what you're doing. They're not talking about you. They couldn't give a heck less, especially random people you meet on the street. They're not even looking at you probably. But we base so much of how we live thinking other people are talking about us and looking at us, right? Another similar thing to this is jumping to conclusions, where we assume we know what the future is going to hold. We fortune tell the future. I know it's going to be bad. Just like I know they're talking about me, I know tomorrow's going to suck, and here's why. I don't really have much evidence to support it, but I have a good guess that tomorrow's going to be bad. The thing about these thought distortions is that we need evidence to be able to tell if they're true. Evidence is hard facts, okay? And I'll tell you about that at the end here. Overgeneralization is where we make very sweeping conclusions, very grand general conclusions about how things are, about life. We have one kind of negative thing happen, and we overgeneralize it to other things. We make a lot of assumptions about things. So we have one person who is mean to us in our lives, and we think everyone hates us. That'd be an overgeneralization. We have one bad day at work. Work sucks all the time. It doesn't. Using words like always, never are very powerful, and our words are powerful. Our words have a ton of meaning, even if they're just words in our head. So if we're using always, I'm always getting turned down for things. Nothing I do is good enough. I never get what I want. We will feel like crap automatically, okay? Personalization is where we believe we are responsible for other people's behavior, other people's things they have going on. I meet someone and I automatically think that I need to save them, or I need to let them live with me because they're broken and sad. No, you don't need to let them live with you because they have other ways to deal with their stuff, and you have to focus on you too, okay? But it's saying also things like, that person's mad at me because I'm such an idiot and I did everything wrong and this is my fault. It's blaming everything on yourself when it might not be actually your fault. Sometimes it is, but not always. Alternatively, we blame everyone else for everything and say it's all their fault. It's their fault my kids got taken. It's their fault I'm in the legal system. The cop was targeting me. They did it. And that's not necessarily true. So these, like defense mechanisms, make us live in an alternate reality that is not the real reality. And they really damage us from living healthy lives. So one thing that I mentioned to change them is this thing called evidence. Just like with court or in an investigation, we need evidence to make convictions. We need evidence to make hypotheses real and valid. And so we need to be able to ask ourselves questions based off of evidence. For example, what is the absolute worst thing that could happen? What's the best thing that could happen? And what's the most realistic? That helps with jumping to conclusions. Or with catastrophizing. If I'm a few minutes late to my job, what's the best thing that could happen? Nobody notices, nobody cares, it's fine. The worst thing that could happen is I will probably get yelled at, and the most likely is that it'll be fine. I might get talked to, but it's not gonna be a big deal. I'm not gonna become homeless because of that. So another one would be, what evidence do I have that shows that this thing is true? This thought that I have in my head is true. So I guess I should say the first thing that we want to know is, what am I thinking? And a thought is different than a feeling in the way that we say, like, I feel like you messed up and didn't take out the trash. That's not a feeling. That's a belief. Okay, so a thought is what we are thinking. I think this. So I think I'm going to lose my job and become homeless. That would be the thought. Okay? And we call them automatic thoughts because they happen quick. We have them all throughout our day. Just bam, 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 quick. And so I think I'm going to lose my job. Okay, so what's the evidence to support that? Have you seen anyone else being late, a few minutes late to work, lose their job? No. So that's not evidence. What's the evidence? Well, I feel like it. That's not evidence. Feelings are not evidence. Okay? What's the evidence against it would be the next question. And that would be, I haven't seen anybody lose their job for being a few minutes late. My boss really likes me. They're understanding. They're a decent person. Those are all evidenced against it. And that can help you weigh whether it's true or not. Another thing you can do is, what would I tell a friend in this situation? Would I tell them they're such a failure, that they're ugly and stupid? No, unless you're not very nice to your friends. We tend to treat people better than we treat ourselves. So how would I tell a friend to handle this situation? Okay? There's a lot of other ones, and this type of therapy is called cognitive behavioral therapy that I'm talking about. We are all trained in this type of therapy, and we can help you learn how to do this much better than just this video can. So please come in to see us if you want to change your thinking and you're thinking it's not working anymore. If you're anxious all the time, if you're depressed all the time, most likely you got this stuff, and it's worth it to check it out and to try and change it. Okay?